The 2025 NFL Draft is officially in the books, and while the Raiders came away with a solid rookie class and made some nice moves in free agency, they also find themselves in a very strong position financially. According to SpotRack, the Raiders currently have around $42 million in available salary cap space, second only to the New England Patriots. That's a huge chunk of flexibility for a team that's still got a few areas on the roster that could use some serious attention. And while I think the Raiders did a good job plugging several holes through the draft, in my opinion, there are still two big question marks on this team that need to be addressed before we start talking about playoff pushes or taking that next step in the AFC. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. Okay, those two concerns are the linebacker group and the slot cornerback position. Let's start with linebacker. This group saw some serious turnover this offseason, especially with the departure of a key piece like Robert Spillane. Losing Spillane created a void in terms of both leadership and production. As it stands today, the Raiders' linebacker room includes guys like Elandon Roberts, who was signed from the Steelers, Devin White, Amari Gainer, Tommy Eichenberg, and rookie Cody Lindenberg, who was taken in the 7th round of this year's draft. Now, while there's certainly some potential and youth in that group, there's a clear lack of proven high-end talent. Elandon Roberts came in on a 1-year, $3 million contract. He's a veteran presence, someone who can bring some toughness and experience to the unit. He's coming off 2 solid seasons in Pittsburgh, where he racked up over 147 tackles. You can pencil him in as a likely starter, but he's probably not going to move the needle dramatically. Then there's Devin White, who Raider fans may know from his time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he made a name for himself as a Pro Bowler and a key piece of their Super Bowl winning defense. He has a prior relationship with general manager John Spytek, dating back to their days in Tampa. But here's the thing. Devin White hasn't been that same dominant force the past couple of years. His recent stints with the Philadelphia Eagles and Houston Texans were up and down. He's still a freak athlete who can fly to the ball and get after the quarterback, but he's not known for his pass coverage. And in today's NFL, that's a big deal. He's not someone you want out there in every down and distance. As for the rest of the group, you've got Amari Gainer, a 6th-round pick from a couple of drafts ago. Amari Gainer, a UDFA pickup from last year who showed some flashes. Tommy Eichenberg, who was taken in the 5th round. And the new rookie, Cody Lindenberg. All of those guys fall more into the developmental category. You can see the traits, you can see the tools, but are they ready for a major role in 2025? That's a big question mark. One guy I'd keep an eye on is Amari Gainer. To me, he stood out during the preseason last year. He made plays, showed energy, and honestly, I was surprised he didn't get more opportunities during the regular season. I think there's something there, but again, banking on an unproven player to suddenly emerge as a starting caliber linebacker is a risky game. The bottom line is, the Raiders need a true coverage linebacker, someone who can stay on the field in nickel and dime sets and hold up in space against tight ends and running backs. That type of player is crucial in today's pass-happy NFL. Now, I will say this. If the defensive line lives up to its potential, it could help mask some of these concerns. When you have Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler, and some solid rotational guys added through the draft, you're looking at a unit that can cause a ton of disruption. And when your front four is getting after the quarterback and closing down running lanes, it makes the job easier for everyone behind them. In that case, the linebacker group could get by, even if it lacks elite playmakers. But even in that best-case scenario, depth remains a concern. Someone's going to get hurt at some point. That's just the reality of the league. So why not bring in another veteran or two to stabilize this group? All right, now let's shift over to the second big area of concern, the nickel cornerback position. This need became even more obvious after the departure of Nate Hobbs, who signed a 4-year deal with the Green Bay Packers. Nate Hobbs was a 2021 draft pick who took some time to develop, but eventually grew into one of the more reliable slot corners in the NFL. He did deal with some injuries, and that probably factored into why the Raiders didn't bring him back. Still, his exit leaves a noticeable hole in the secondary. Right now, The Raiders' options at slot corner are pretty thin. They brought back Darnay Holmes, who is primarily a nickel guy. But if he's your full-time starter in the slot, that's concerning. He's serviceable, sure, but you don't want to be in a position where he's the best you've got. Then there's Eric Stokes, who was signed this offseason as well. He's got some versatility and can take reps inside, but his experience is mostly on the outside. If the Raiders are counting on him to shift inside and thrive, that's a gamble. So, unless one of these guys takes a massive leap, the Raiders are probably going to have to dip back into the free agency pool to shore up this spot. And the good news is, they've got the money to do it. Some names to keep in mind at linebacker include Kyzir White, a speedy, rangy player who's solid in coverage and can fit in well with modern defensive schemes. Duke Riley is another option. Not a star, but a solid contributor who can hold his own in passing situations. Then there's Shaq Thompson, who remains one of the more intriguing names out there. A former first-round pick and team captain with the Carolina Panthers, Shaq Thompson brings versatility. He can play outside, he can drop into coverage, and he has a background as a safety, which helps him in man and zone situations. The only downside with him is the injury history, which could scare some teams off, but when healthy, he's still a high-level player. Now, as for slot corners, it's a tougher market, but one name that really makes sense is Mike Hilton. He's got tons of experience playing the nickel, racking up over 500 snaps last season with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's sticky in coverage, a physical tackler, and has a nose for football. The downside? He probably won't come cheap. He'd likely command a multi-year deal in the $8 million per year range, but honestly, at this point, proven talent is worth the price, especially at such a crucial position as slot corner. Of course, whether or not the Raiders pull the trigger on any of these free agents will depend on how confident they feel about their current group. If they truly believe Devin White can rebound and look like the guy he was in 2020, or if Cody Lindenberg impresses enough in camp to earn snaps, then maybe they don't feel the urgency. If Amari Gainer shows out again, they might roll the dice on the younger guys. But I think most fans would feel a lot better if the team brought in another proven veteran to stabilize the unit. One last thing to consider here: contract extensions. That $42 million isn't all just sitting there waiting to be spent on new players. Some of it might be earmarked for in-house deals. Two players who could be looking at extensions are Kolton Miller, who has no more guaranteed money left on his deal, and Jakobi Meyers, who's entering the final year of his contract. Extensions for either of those guys would eat into the available cap space and could limit how aggressive the front office can be in free agency. That said, even if a portion of that money is set aside, there's still plenty of room to address the roster's most pressing needs. And right now, I think the biggest of those is clearly the nickel cornerback position. That's the one area where there really isn't a reliable answer on the depth chart, and it's something that could easily come back to bite the Raiders once the season kicks off. So, what do you think? Do you agree that linebacker and slot cornerback are the biggest weaknesses left on this team, or do you see other areas that need more attention? Let me know in the comments below.